All right, our next thing is dealing with how do we take sensory information and utilize it with the nervous system. And for that, we have sensory pathways. Information is going to be captured from our environment and sent to the nervous system to interpret. We call those sensations because that's what our senses are. You're picking up a piece of information, and our brain and our nervous system is interpreting that as what it is: color, sound, those kind of things. Sensory adaptations are how does our body tune down or adjust those. Sometimes you see situations where you have like those little internet ones where if you stare at an object too long, the other objects in the picture will seem to disappear. Even though they didn't really disappear, your brain just says they're not important and forgets about them. Same thing happens with your shirt. You're wearing a shirt right now or a piece of clothing. If you don't think about it, you don't feel it, but as soon as you start to think about it, your brain turns on the sensation of you actually touching it. It turns it down because otherwise this is too much information all the time. You don't want that information constantly coming in because it takes away from other things that might be important. So your body can adjust and turn it down and basically say, I want to look at this, I don't want to look at this, I want to kind of feel what I need. That's how we can be tricked when they do like those different optical illusions. A stimulus is any sort of information that basically comes in, our body has to adjust to it and cause a reaction. Sight, or light, color, images, sound, all those kind of things. The way we do that is we have receptors. Receptors, their job is to pick up that information and bring it in. They're primarily pieces of nervous tissue wrapped in connective tissue to help dampen it a little bit so they're protected, but also so they don't take in too much information and get overloaded. The types of receptors that actually exist, they fall into categories. Mechanoreceptors detect mechanical change, big physical forces such as pressure. Chemoreceptors detect chemicals. They look at shapes. The right shape comes in, it turns on, the right signal causes it to cause a reaction. Photoreceptors pick up light, because the name photo referring to photons. In this case, nociceptors, their job is to pick up pain, what we call pain. Pain is really a sensation. What it is, it's a warning signal. It's being triggered by other types of receptors saying, you know what, something's going on, you need to alert the nervous system to tell it to make an action happen right now to avoid damage. Thermoreceptor detects temperature, so that's pretty self-explanatory. People always say you have 5 senses. You really have 5 basic senses, but you have a lot more than 5 senses. The general senses, their job is to do the general tasks. They're found throughout the whole body. They're found to do the basic things that go on. So for example, touch. Touch is actually pressure reception. You're detecting differences in pressure on your skin or your organs to tell you something's going on. So for example, the mechanoreceptors do those. There are 3 basic categories of touch receptors. There are Meissner's corpuscles. They detect fine change. So they can detect small textures and differences in shapes and things like that. So they're primarily, even though they're located throughout the whole body, they're primarily located in heavy numbers in things like your fingers, your palms, your soles, your lips, because that allows you to manipulate and feel differences in the shape and size and structure of things to protect yourself from your environment. Things like Merkel's discs are found throughout the whole skin. Their job is to detect general touch. Something's touching my skin. I know that. I don't need to know the shape of it. I just need to know something's there, that then I can take my hand and figure it out with the actual more fine, sensitive Meissner's corpuscles. So this one's just going to be a generalized one. Pacinian corpuscles, their job is extreme changes, ones that can trigger potential damage and also usually kick off nociceptors to say, you know what, there's a pain here. Stop it. Identify what's going on and make sure it goes away. So they're going to be located at things like your joints, your tendons, your organs. Are they in your skin? Absolutely. They're found in specific spots especially, so they can help regulate those different areas. Temperature reception is a general one. Our body needs to know what's going on throughout both the internal and external environment when it comes to our temperature. And our brain has to know that so it can regulate and try to manipulate that, get rid of excess heat, produce more heat if we're getting too cold, things like that. Pain, again, is nothing more than a warning sign. It's the giant red flashing light that says, you know what, there's something wrong. Your brain needs to deal with it. Brain's being told to do it. There are people who are born without the ability to have nociceptors or have them function correctly. That's a danger because then they don't know when they cause damage because they don't feel that warning sign. Are you really detecting a true thing with pain? No, you're detecting that there's something going on. So guess what? The other receptors say, you need to deal with this. There's a problem. And this is the signal being sent saying there's a problem. So it's a protective function. There are different types of pain. Referred pain is your brain gets the signals wrong. It thinks it's a pain somewhere, but it's really not there. The danger is somewhere else. Most common one people hear about is having like a pain in your left arm when you're having a heart attack. because the signals get wired, the wires get crossed, and they get basically the signals going the wrong way. Your brain thinks it's in the left arm, when actually the damage is occurring in the heart. It's the signals getting messed up. There are a number of them like that. A lot of times doctors will ask you about pain in one part of the body, and they'll say, oh, if you have pain there, it's probably your liver or it's your kidneys, because they know certain ones get commonly mistaken. Visceral pain are your organ pains, things like stomach pains, intestinal cramps, stuff like that where you feel pain from those organs that are basically telling your body there's a problem that needs to be dealt with. They're having a lot of issues. Your body position can be determined by these different types of general senses. Knowing where your body is at all times, your brain has to know this, because it has to know where my right arm is moving compared to my left arm, so it can always know what's going on. The inner ear, the muscles, and the joints all have receptors that do this. Their job is so I can close my eyes and still know where my hands are, even with my eyes closed, because I have in my brain an idea of what's going on in my general environment. As my arm moves, it tells it how fast, what direction, all those kind of things like that. So we call those proprioceptors. They're very special kinds of receptors that determine general body position and determine motion as well. So you close your eyes and you can move your hand back and forth, and you know where it's moving and how fast it's moving.